We're going to look at three things in this video: the margin of error, the confidence interval, and the confidence level. You'll often see, maybe in the newspaper or on the radio or on the internet, surveys that are done. And it might look like this. So 500 people were randomly selected in a city to see if they were in favor of raising taxes to pay for a new leisure center. The survey determined that 65% of the people were in favor of raising taxes to pay for the center. And then you'll hear this: the results were considered accurate within plus or minus 5 percentage points 19 times out of 20. So what does that really mean? Sometimes we can just focus on, okay, 65% of people want to raise taxes to pay for the center. But the reality is they didn't actually survey everybody in the city. They only asked 500 people. And let's say there were, thousands and thousands and thousands of people in the city. So obviously when you're doing a survey, you can't ask everybody in the city. That would be a lot of money to do that and not very practical. So they randomly select a certain number of people. And then they can come up with a percentage, but there's always these errors that they have in there because they're not asking everybody in the town. So a couple of vocabulary terms. So one thing that we can look for is the margin of error. And the margin of error is the possible difference between the value from the survey and the true value of the entire population. And usually we express this as a percent. So this is our margin of error, plus or minus, and usually write the plus over the minus like this, plus or minus 5%. That's our margin of error. 65% is what we've got, but that could be out by up to plus or minus 5% off this value. So that's the margin of error, plus or minus 5% in this question. The confidence interval, which is the possible range of values. And there's always going to be a lower limit and an upper limit. So here we said that 65, let me get my pen back again. 65% was what the survey found out. And then that was accurate plus or minus 5 percentage points. So if we take our 65 and we minus 5, that's going to give our lower limit of 60. I'll go LL for lower limit. And our upper limit then would be 65, which is what our survey found. But if we were to add 5% to that, that's a total of 70%. So our confidence interval is from 60% to 70%. That's our confidence interval, from 60% to 70%. And you can get the confidence interval easy enough by taking what your survey results showed you and adding the margin of error to it and subtracting the margin of error to it to get your confidence interval. And then finally, the confidence, need my pen back again. The confidence level is really how sure you are that the true value lies within your confidence interval. So the confidence level in this question is how sure we are that the true value of how many people are in favor of raising taxes is really between 60 and 70%. And that's where this piece comes in, 19 times out of 20. So 19 times out of 20, if we look at that, lost my pen again here. 19 times out of 20, if we actually go and divide that, (19 divided by 20) is 0.95, or 95%. So the confidence level is 95%. So here's really what this means. If we want to look at all of this pieces of information here, I can say this: I am 95% sure that in this city that 60 to 70% of the people are in favor of raising taxes to pay for the center. That's what that means. So I'm 95% sure that about 60 to 70% of the people in this town are going to be in favor of raising taxes to pay for a new leisure center. So the margin of error is the difference between the value from the survey and the true value, so plus or minus 5%. You'll be looking for this information here. The confidence interval is when you'll take your value and you add 5 and minus 5% to it to figure out what your range of values are. And then in this case, 19 out of 20 means I'm 95% sure that this is going to be the true result of the entire city's population.